Any tips for crafting event? Alright, here's a TLDR. Let's just put it this way. Step number 1. Go for a set that you normally use all the time, or you know that you're gonna be using it all the fucking time, okay? So, whenever you actually end up crafting, you're either gonna choose between speed or immunity. Most of the time it's gonna be immunity, because then it's gonna be one of those stupid sets that are way too hard for you to farm, and you're never gonna be really caring about it the most. Number 2, once you pick your set, I will pick your immunity here for you, just because then I know that you need immunity on your right side, and you're not gonna deny it, so I will go immunity. Okay? So, number 2 is you never pick these 3. These 3s are basically garbage, okay? Weapon, helmet, and chest piece are basically kind of pointless because then they're not very stat specific. Like, most of the times whenever you're going for these ones, you're always gonna be crafting the left side anyway for your gear because they're the easiest pieces to make. They don't roll any main stat in particular, and they're not very hard. You get to select your main stat in this event, so there's no reason why you should be picking any of these 3 unless you think that maybe they could get like fucking 20,000 speed or something. But what are the chances that you're gonna get that? Alright? So the best pieces that you actually are supposed to be picking are anything between your neck, ring, or boots. Now, for boots are normally extremely flexible. The reason why I wouldn't recommend boots is because then you could have any kind of stat that you want on it, and you're kind of open to do whatever you want. It could be on a damage dealer, it could be like a soul weaver, it could be like any kind of gear that you really want, and you could classify it that way. You're typically fine with like any kind of immunity shoe. So the best thing that for you to do in this event really is to craft either a neck or a ring. These 2 being is because then they are very strict on what they want. Their substats have to be cohesive with their main stat. So like, you don't want like an attack ring with like soul weaver substats like HP, effect res, and effectiveness, and none of that crap. You don't want some weird shit on your ring. So when it comes down to that, you want to be looking for these 2 primarily. These being like one of the harder pieces for you to actually look at. So it could either be your neck if you need a crit damage, you need a crit chance, you need a HP percentage, something like that. But most of the time, people are probably going to go for either crit damage or crit chance as being the most popular because then they love their damage dealer so much. Or you could run HP with like every other stat that you really need. Going forward, same thing goes for your ring. Your ring is like, you can go for attack ring or an HP ring. I think between one of those 2 are actually one of the best. I think a lot of people right now are kind of like indifferent. I've seen a lot of HP attack rings, and I've seen a lot of crit chance, crit damage rings, or necklaces. So you could honestly go for either one of these, and then you go from there. In this kind of situation, you could choose to run, as long as you have 4 perfect substats, you're pretty happy to do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter from there. Like, as long as you have that 4 perfect substat, you're like pretty happy. So for my viewer here, I will show this as an example. I'll just say right now, he is missing an attack ring. He is in the deep gutter with attack rings. He needs this shit. So in order for me to actually get him some decent ass pieces, we'll go here to his rings because that's what he needs, okay? I'm not telling you this is the best. I'm just putting this out as an example. So I'll go ring here. I'll choose attack ring because that's what he wants. Yes? And then from here, now you're on this page. You're wondering, okay, I have a lot of points. I get to reroll, but what am I really looking for? Well, let it like be cohesive with your main stat. So for whenever you're looking at your main stat, there are very simple ways to actually look at it. If you want like an attack ring, you would want something that's crit chance and crit damage and speed and all the other like tanky stats like HP and defense. Stats are normally very cohesive with this. I'll basically drag out like a document that I actually made that has like practically everything. So this is the breakdown. This is pretty universal. You can look at your gear any other way, but I say just a simple way to actually look at it. Okay, so this is how it goes. Speed, number 1, is mandatory on all gear. You have to have speed. The very reason why you want speed on all your gear is because every unit at the end of the day will care about speed and is not a dead stat. Unless for some reason you want to build a slow ass one and maybe 4 speed isn't very relevant. But if you have speed, you can use it on most units, if not all, right? And then afterwards, there are very specific things that when it comes down to looking for speed. So for damage dealers, if you're going for like attack ring, right? You want crit chance, crit damage. and maybe once in a while you might have like some off stats such as HP defense. But this is like kind of a simple breakdown of what most units kind of want. These are the 4 stats that they really care about. Speed. So, going back to this. So, once again, speed is mandatory on every single shit. And then you have like damage dealers and DPS. Damage dealers and DPS are kind of like simple. They're not very picky on their stats. As long as they have these 3 stats, you're pretty happy. And then if you want them to be slightly tankier, you give them HP defense. Now, that's one classification. The second classification is where I call it the whole shebang. These are like practically most units, if not all units. Not every damage, like not every unit is going to be a damage dealer. They're either going to be a tank utility or debuff mage, right? You either want them for like, let's say for example, your knights, right? Every single fucking knight in the game, LR Crow, FCC, blah blah blah. You take your pick, right? They're always gonna want HP defense, and then afterwards you have 3 different stats that are basically like this. It's effect res, effectiveness, or crit. So as long as you have HP defense and one of these 3 stats, they fit into different categories. Okay, tanks want effect res, utility wants effectiveness, and then if you want bruiser tanks, you get crit chance. And then if you're like a debuff mage or like mages such as like F10A, Basar, and that other crap, or like I don't know, maybe like turn 1 units or something like that, you'll get something such as like effectiveness. So I guess I should change this here, like basically just turn 1 units, right? Just turn 1. So things like that. It's just simple. You just add this. Once again, speed is mandatory. I put this as very top at number 1. All your gear wants speed. I don't give a fuck what the hell it is. And then of course you get your bruisers. They could have anything as long as the stats are above crit damage. Now, when I say they're above crit damage, you could go back to your units. All your bruiser units want stat above crit damage. Hence, they want attack, defense, HP, speed, crit chance, and crit damage. These are all the 6 stats that they want. Maybe not too much of speed, but then they could use it. Yeah, they could use it, and that's the entire point. Speed is usable on bruisers. Yeah, and then you have effectiveness and effect res. You don't want the shit. Your bruisers don't want it. Don't get it. Simple. Just like, it's useless. It's a dead-ass stat. And then, of course, if you want dual attack because you're a Unity gamer, then, you know, my chat's gonna be like, hey, look, what about dual attack cap? And then I said, no, that's a full fucking meme. But that's a simple breakdown of it. So, what do you do when you get to fixing up your gear in the Steel Workshop for the crafting event? This is number 1. You pick the main set that you want or shit that you don't have. You can easily check that by following the same thing. You could go back and pause the video if you want and look at this stuff right here. It's not too much, right? So this is basically what you want, speed on all gear. Or now let's classify it based on main stat. If it's HP gear or something like that, if you're looking at HP gear, you're normally gonna look at this, right? Or you do like this. I'm not gonna include like niche units such as like HP scaling units or something like that. If they're HP scaling, you typically have an idea of what they kind of want. But these are like more like well-rounded stats. These are like kind of like the units that you want. And then of course we get like very special unique units such as like defense or like HP% scaling units, right? And then like these basically are another category by themselves. Like these, whenever we're taking a look at this into like I guess this is like bruiser scaling units or something I guess. And then these ones are just like crit chance percentage, crit damage percent, HP percentage, and then you have like and then you have speed. Something along the lines of just this, right? Speed, defense percentage, vice versa. These things are like interchangeable, whatever you really want, and then you just go from there. They're a unique set of their own, but most of the time you're never gonna be always building for these. There are a very small amount of units that use these kind of stats. And if, once again, they're gonna end up looking like this at the end of the day. So, fuck it, right? We only care about damage dealers, DPS, tanks, utility, debuff mages, and turn 1s. And then we have bruisers. And then, of course, if you like building your Alencia a little bit, you guys could always go for the 4th option. Pause the video if you really need to. This is basically all it is. But really, I really just want to scroll up to number 1 and just say speed is mandatory on all gear. So, we got that done. Now, we roll. We keep on rolling until we get like what we want. So I don't know, speed through this video to skip until we get something good, I guess. Okay, we got something nice. So you get something that looks really nice. Yeah, that's a lot faster. Maybe we don't have to skip the video. We got something really nice, but in this event, what's so nice about this event is that you get to window shop. This is basically like, what you call it? You get to like keep on rolling until you get like 4 perfect stats kind of thing. So why wouldn't you? You got like an entire month, right? Or I don't even know how much longer from this video until we get the next one. But basically, don't be those people that just say, oh my god, this looks so good. You can only get 1 piece of gear, okay? Only 1, okay? So, don't collect this. Don't confirm equipment. If you click this shit, I will clap your fucking cheeks. You got a month. Just wait, okay? You probably estimating about 600 to 800 freaking points per day with the amount of free energy that they give you from web event and all that other crap, plus ads if you actually watch them. But, you know, wait. You have your chances. And then praise, okay? You can always save it. You can always save the one that looks really fucking good. And then when it comes down to the last day, you just get it because then maybe your luck just sucks dick. So, min-max. Get 4 perfect stats. You want 4 perfect stats. This thing is flat HP. You don't want that shit. Get it? You need speed. You need speed because that's the rule. Okay? We keep this for now. We look for speed. Jesus. Oh, we got okay. Okay, unpause the unpause or dude, we finally got to the thing. So, you finally made it to a piece that you really fucking like. But now, it has all the stats that you want, but your rolls are dog shit. They are like freaking min rolls. They don't look like they're missing a shit ton and they have lack potential. They have small potential of being insane. This is good. However, here's a problem though. They're not maximum. They're not maximum rolls. So, this is what you do. Okay? This is how we really go about it. Let me go back to my document once again. Okay? Skip all this shit. We go into our values, okay? We basically have crit chance where the range is between 3 and 5. We have 3 and 5%. And then we have speed, which is between 2 and 5. Because this is epic, you know, 5 is an outlier. So, like, we should put this in brackets right here. 5 is outlier. You better suck dick for this kind of thing. You feel me? It's super hard to get. You're probably never gonna get it. That's just the rule of the game. All right, and then you have crit damage, which is ranging between 4 and 7 on this kind of gear. These are the set maximums. The maximum here is actually set as a 7. So that's probably what you want. Every other stat is between 4 and 8%, and you want 8%. So if you want to take a look at this again, crit damage is at min roll. You want a 7 here. On speed, you want a 5. You gotta suck dick for it. I'm just kidding. You don't really need to. Just get a 4. You can settle with a 4, okay? So you just settle with a 4. 4 is technically the max, okay? Well, it's considered at the max, and then defense is 4. It's a min roll once again. So you want 8% for this shit. So you want the same ring, but now they just gotta have higher rolls. So you keep on going. You keep on going until you get what you want. And you spam that shit until you get something good. That's all you need to do. And that's it. That's just like literally the equipment crafting event in a nutshell. You get 4 perfect substats, and then you pray that you get a super high one. That's what you want. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. And I hope this video helped. You guys can go back and rewind, and I wish you guys good luck. Please don't be one of those people that collect your gear. I'll clap you for that. And remember, you guys can visit me at twitch.tv/Banshui. The link is below in the description. Smile, leave a comment, suck my dick, and peace the fuck out.